Sunny Suffolk this morning. It's absolutely threw it down all night. I've been wanting to get out and try these socks out that I was sent the other day. These are by a company called DAKY. They state they're a thermal waterproof sock. So with this trip heading out to Sweden in June, there's going to be a couple of days we're going to be heading through a lot of meltwater, a lot of snow. So what I didn't want to do is wear a big pair of leather boots and you know, have sodden wet boots through the whole of it. So the plan is to wear a set of trail runners, my armour skin socks underneath, and then a set of waterproof socks over the top. So these have got a thermal rating of 8. So they state that these are really warm. So I'm looking at, obviously, you know, walking through snow, through meltwater. The last thing I want to be doing is have freezing cold feet during the day. So we're out in the woods today. It has thrown it down. I did plan to go along the beach and through the marsh today, but there's a 20-mile-an-hour southerly wind today, so it's going to be blowing like hell down on the beach. So we're going to head through the birch marsh here in Dunwich Forest. So basically what I'm going to do is just get me armour skin anti-blister socks on. I spoke about these before. Absolutely brilliant as an undersock. No blisters at all. Absolutely brilliant. So the whole idea of sticking the waterproof socks over the top of these is obviously to keep these dry. These aren't waterproof. So what I'm going to do is just get myself set off, go get wet, and see how my feet get on. Right, so pulling these out of the packet, they do come with their own little bag. I've took those out at the moment. These are mid-calf, so the reason I've got mid-calf is I want to be able to tuck my trousers into the socks if I'm going through quite deep water or mud at some stage, to obviously try and keep the trousers as dry as possible. These are left and they are right, so we'll just do a balloon test on these, see whether they can hold themselves in shape. Which they do. Right, so let's slide these on and see how they are. Alright, so these are a large mid-calf. Sizing are for 43 to 46, or in the UK that's a 9 to 11. I'm an 11, and they are just a tiny bit big. Am I going to be able to tuck my trousers in them? Yep. Okay, so that will work. Let's see how they feel in a shoe. So these are a set of Merrell trail runners. They feel okay, so we'll stick this one on. Like I say, it just does feel a bit big. Stick the other shoe on. So we're heading out into the woods today. I'm going to walk through the birch marsh, get ourselves really wet, and basically checking out how cold my feet are and if they stay dry. Trousers that I'm wearing are by Revolution Race. That's a Swedish company. I've done a review on these before. So let's get into the woods and see how they get on. Yeah, so far they feel alright. They feel, obviously they feel like your feet are wet, because obviously they're cold compared to what the temperature of your foot is in your shoe. But they seem to be doing the job. And then the thing is as well, is the sock's getting wet, and I'll say the sock's getting wet, it's getting cold, but it's obviously warming up with the heat from your feet. But we'll head through the marsh, we'll get them all muddy and completely saturated, and we'll see how they go. Feet are warm, definitely warm, but obviously, you know, air temperature and water temperature here is not the temperature that I'm going to be experiencing in June through the meltwater. I did plan to tuck my trousers into my socks and give them a good old dunk, but I think I got my trousers a bit too muddy for a bit of bog that was a little bit deeper than what I thought it was. So yeah, so far pretty impressed with these. So we're just going to head east through here. We've gone through the birch marsh now, so we're just in birch. And this comes out onto a marsh bed, so we're just going to run through the marsh bed. That does get pretty boggy through there. It ends up down onto the North Sea, so we're going to head down that way, and then probably come back this way and have a spot of food on the way back. Where are you off to, young lady? Huh? Come on. Come on. What are you doing? It's a bit slippery underfoot. So I think I'm about halfway down to the sea. It's a little bit of a walk down here. Very, very wet in places. They have actually done a bit of brush cutting, and all the chippings they've laid down in the path that I've just gone through, so that was a lot easier. But we nearly went. Nearly went. I don't think any type of shoe is going to stop you through all of this mud, to be honest. But it's turned out alright now. It was absolutely minging when I got up this morning, absolutely throwing it down, persisting down. Look at that. That's pretty. All the tack covered in lichen. And the geese over there on the scrape. So yeah, I think we're about halfway down. I know this pings around to its left, and from there you can normally see the old water mill. but we'll carry on a bit longer. I think that pings around to the left just up here. Nearly went again. Should really be using 2 sticks here, but obviously carrying the other camera, it's not that easy. Just come around the corner there, just looking onto the scrape. There's a brace of marsh harriers just circling all the wading birds that are on the scrape there. A bit too far away to pick up with a camera, but yeah, you do get quite a few of them around here. Right, so back into the blooming blackthorn now, and squidgy. I nearly went over twice a second ago. You want to laugh. That dog is going to need complete disinfecting when we get back. So I think this is the last section of blackthorn. Bloody throat. That sort of pings around to the left from here, dries out, dries out a bit, and then starts heading down to the sea. So this section joins a Suffolk coastal path. You can hear that, but plenty of geese on the scrape. You can't actually see the scrape from this footpath because it's right in the centre of the reed beds. Right, yeah, I can see the old watermill from here. So we'll head over to that. You can tell we're coming out to the coast now because there's a massive southerly coming down, and it's got a bit more windy now. We're getting the open out of the trees and into the reed beds. Right. Right, didn't bother going down to the beach. That was blowing a hoolie down there. So just stopped off at the mill just for 5 minutes, and then just heading back through the reed beds now, back into the forest. Going to stop over there for some lunch. But yeah, I am really impressed with these socks. They my feet aren't cold at all, and you can't feel the, you know, when you go through the water, you can definitely feel the water in your shoes and around your feet and stuff, but it's been about 20-30 minutes since I've been through anything to wet the shoes, and my feet are lovely and warm, and you can't feel the water in them at present. So yeah, really impressed with these. These are a definite to take up to Sweden in June. So yeah, June's trip, basically, was it June the 16th, flying out to Kiruna, got a stop off in Stockholm, and then stopping on the 16th in a hostel in Kiruna, and that's just basically giving us a chance to get into town and get some supplies and stuff that we need. Things like gas, obviously you can't take gas on a plane. Some food, I'm going to take some freeze-dried meals with me. I'm going to take a load of the Summit to Eat stuff with me, because they weigh next to nothing. Pack weight, I'm looking at about 8 kilos at present. That's not including gas, and that's not including food. So a few other bits that we need to get when we're in town. So obviously some bread, try and get hold of some dried reindeer meat. I normally take out jerky or biltong or something like that, but I fancy getting hold of some smoked reindeer meat. It's easy to get hold of in town. So yeah, so stop over on the 16th, and then 17th in the morning, bus from Kiruna to Nikkaluokta, and from there we're heading down the trail that joins on to the Kungsleden, or the King's Trail, at I forget which one it is. I think it's Salka or Singi it joins on. So yeah, I've done this route before. I've done it in 2017 as part of the Fjällräven Classic. Obviously, different thing is that was in August, and this is in June. So there's still going to be a fair bit of snow about. Forgive me if I fall over because I'm now hitting the mud. So complete different weather conditions, really. But looking forward to it. Hence the reason I want to try out a set of trail runners and some waterproof socks, because my feet are going to be wet at that time of the year. Obviously with all the meltwater, certain sections as you hit sort of Abrasion Jorda, it's real birch marsh going through there, and I even remember in August that was soggy going through there. So June, that is going to be really wet. So so that's the plan, and then once that's done, we're not rushing to go through that. When we done it in August, we done it in 3.5 days, but I felt that was too quick. You're constantly looking at the floor, you know, looking where your feet are, and you don't really get to see the scenery. So I'm going to take a time this time, and then head back to Kiruna, night in a hostel again, just to scrape the filth off us, and hopefully that should lead us around midsummer, around the 21st of June. And then it's undecided really what we're going to do. I'm probably going to head to Jukkasjärvi, where the ice hotel is in the winter. It's Sami village, and see whether we can do a couple of trails out that way, a couple of nights over. But there's no real plan really, so it might be a case of just taking a little bit longer on the Kungsleden, or yeah, take another couple of trails. But it's a great thing about this, we've got plenty of time to do this, that we're not really rushing, and we can just take each day as it comes really. Right, today's culinary delight, summit to eat. This is one of their desserts. This is the chocolate mousse with cherry and granola. Pack weighs 97 grams. There is 416 kilocalories of energy in this. This takes 145 ml of water. Nearly schoolboy error. Nearly schoolboy error. Cold water. Bought the water this. I thought this was a hot dessert. So let's have a look again. So this goes up to fill line E, this does. So same with all of these pouches, just remember to take the oxygen absorber out. So that comes out. And the same as all of them, just give them a shake up. Just try and get rid of some of the big lumps. I was actually hoping for a hot dessert, to be perfectly honest. Right. Leave it alone. No. No. Water. Right, so this one's fill line E. Luckily I saved some water. Will you leave it alone? There's nothing for you. So it's not a great deal of water goes into this one. That's about that really. That's all it needed. Not much. Get out! And the same with any of these pouches, just give them a good old stir, really. Shake it right down to the bottom, because you won't get water into the corners. Right down there's still a bit. I'm going to just stick a bit more water in this. This looks like old school chocolate mousse. It's not as easy to rehydrate as the hot ones. Right. So 8 minutes. So we'll leave that. Right, let's give this a go then. Doesn't look all that appealing. I was hoping for a hot dessert. I didn't realise it was a cold dessert. No, good. That is nice. Yep, I like that. I guess you could have it hot. Sure, it'd work if it was hot. Still a few dry bits inside it, I can see. Yeah, right down in the bottom. I like this. Don't normally do desserts. The desserts that I've had from these, so I've had the rice pudding, and I normally use that as a breakfast. I guess you can use this as a breakfast. So impressed with these socks, really impressed. Feet aren't cold at all. Not cold at all. The trick is to take them off and see what the armour skin are like underneath. They don't feel squidgy. The armour skin are still breathing. I guess there's no real difference to whether you're just, your foot would still breathe. So your foot's breathing into the armour skin and then the armour skin's breathing. So, but they're not cold, they don't feel squidgy underneath the sock. So I think these are going to work. These are going to work for my trip out to Sweden. But we'll see when we get back to the car. So these are the Sub-Zero socks. They've got a thermal rating of 8. They kept my feet warm today. It's probably about 6-7 degrees, maybe a little bit more today. There's a bit of a wind. But my feet aren't cold. Obviously the environment that I want to use these in, which is northern Sweden, sort of June, there's going to be a lot of meltwater around. I think we've probably got a day's worth of hiking through snow, through spring snow. So feet are going to get wet. So hence the reason I wanted to try these socks. Fairly sure they're going to do what they're going to do. What I didn't really want is to be wearing a pair of mascarpas, let the boots get absolutely sodden wet, and then you're constantly putting on wet shoes throughout the day. So I thought I might as well try a set of trail runners that have got to be wet all the time, and just as long as I keep my feet warm and dry. But so far it all looks good. So I've got another set to try, which is the merino wool waterproof socks. But so far impressed with these. So DAKY, I came across them on Instagram, and yeah, so basically they've got quite a good sort of variety of socks for outdoors, for running, for walking, that sort of stuff. The next set that I've got to try is a set of merino wool based waterproof socks. So as soon as they turn up, we'll give those ones a go and then compare these with these Sub-Zero. I don't know what the thermal rating is for the merino wool ones, but we'll give them a go and see which ones are the best ones to use. Alright, time to pack up. Time to head through the birch and head home. So we're back at the car now. So that's a total of that was 18k we just done. So a good bit of terrain difference. So through the bog, through the marsh, through the puddles, through the mud. So we've gone through quite a different bit of terrain just to see how these socks go. So let's see what happens when we take these off. Let's get my shoes ready. So you can see that's been completely doused. Trousers are filthy. I'm just going to clean these trousers up a bit. So the peel and reveal. Completely dry. Completely dry. Minging. So 100%. They're a bit sticky, but then again they're always a bit sticky after taking off those socks. Like I say, the armour skin are breathable, and the DAKY Sub-Zero socks, they're breathable as well. But yeah, I'm really impressed with those. So you haven't really got to worry about tucking your trousers in the socks really, because they're half calf. I haven't felt the trousers wet on my legs, but obviously depending on what the environment is like that you're in, are they going to dry enough? But then again, if they're going to get wet the next day, what's the bloody point? But yeah, this one is the same. So doing a day's hike, like 25, 30k in a day, you need a bit of time, you need a bit of admin time for your feet once you're done. It can be a case of just tulking them up and just letting them breathe like this, really. So in my bag I've always got a spare set of socks that I can just change into once I'm done for the day, once the tent's all set up. And you know, you're relaxing for the evening, so I've got a complete dry set of socks. The Tiger Balm's quite a good thing as well. You want to put Tiger Balm on your feet while you're sort of just chilling out in the evenings and stuff. That works out quite well. So yeah, I'm really impressed with those. They're lovely and dry inside. So these need hand washing. So these are obviously going to need to be hand washed. With your trail runners, I mean, they are what they are, you know.
they're covered in mud, they're soaking wet through, so they're not going to dry overnight. So you just got to make sure that, you know, your feet are warm enough when you get into those, because even though they're not wet, they're still going to zap a bit of heat out of you. So that's the DAKY Sub-Zero socks, waterproof socks. So yeah, they're a thumbs up for those. Really do like those. I'm going to take those with me when I go to Sweden in the summer, and look forward to trying the merino wool version out.